The council chamber stretched across 3 miles of curved space, a monument to galactic unity built by species whose names humanity had never heard. Ambassador Kryn stood at the central podium, his forearms folded in a gesture of deep concern. Around him, holographic projections showed representatives from 4,000 civilizations, all waiting for his words. 200 years, Kryn said, his voice carrying through universal translators. We have sent greetings, mathematics, music, images of peace. Earth remains silent. A reptilian delegate from the outer rim hissed through her translator. Perhaps they are extinct. Natural disaster, disease. Their radio signals continue, another voice called out. Television broadcasts. Internet chatter. They are very much alive. Then they ignore us deliberately. Commander Vrek growled from his warship delegation. This is insult. We should respond with force. Kryn raised one hand. Or perhaps they are wise. The chamber fell quiet. Wise? What wisdom was there in silence? Across the galaxy, aboard the exploration vessel Newton, Captain James Reed studied the latest alien transmission. It had arrived 3 hours ago, detected by satellites humans had secretly placed beyond Pluto's orbit. Another one, Lisa said from the pilot seat. She was young, barely 30, but she had steady hands. They're getting persistent. They've always been persistent, Tom replied from engineering. He pulled up a hologram showing 2 centuries of alien attempts at contact. Thousands of messages, all archived, all studied. What's different now? David, the crew scientist, highlighted a section of the new message. This one includes coordinates. And a deadline. 30 days. Reed leaned back in his chair. An ultimatum. Looks like it, sir. For 150 years, humanity had maintained its silence. It had started as caution when the first alien signals were detected in 1875. Earth's governments had panicked. Were these beings peaceful? Hostile? Advanced beyond measure? The decision had been made at the highest levels. Listen, learn, wait. And humanity had listened. Very carefully indeed. In Geneva, President Rachel Morgan sat across from General Frank Hayes and Dr. Maya Patel. Between them, a holographic display showed the Galactic Council's ultimatum. They want an answer, Morgan said. 30 days or they take action. Hayes grunted. Let them come. We're ready, are we? Patel asked. She pulled up tactical data. We've built the fleet, yes. Reverse engineered their technology. But we've never actually fought them. We've never needed to fight them, Hayes countered. Because we stayed quiet. Morgan stood and walked to the window. Below, Geneva sparkled with lights. Beyond, the stars waited. We can't hide forever. Our emissions are stronger every year. Our ships venture farther. Eventually, silence becomes impossible. So we answer, Patel said. We answer, Morgan agreed. But on our terms. The message went out from Earth 14 days later. Not rushed. Not panicked. Calculated. Captain Reed's ship approached the alien probe waiting in Mars orbit. It was beautiful, a crystalline structure that pulsed with soft light. It had been broadcasting for 200 years, patient and eternal. Reed opened a channel. His words were simple. This is humanity. We heard you. We've always heard you. In the council chamber, Kryn's eyes widened. The human voice came through in perfect Krynal, his native tongue. Then it repeated in Vraxian. Then Telleran. Then 44 other languages. Impossible, someone whispered. They know all our languages? The human continued. We apologize for our silence. We were not ready to speak. We needed to listen first. To understand. Reed transmitted the data package Earth had prepared. It contained recordings alien council meetings from a century ago, trade negotiations from 50 years past, military discussions from last month. The council erupted in chaos. They've been spying on us for 200 years. What else do they know? Reed's voice cut through the noise. Everything. We know your politics, your wars, your peace treaties. We studied your technology, your culture, your history. We learned from you. A new hologram appeared, images of Earth's hidden fleet. Ships that had been built in the Kuiper Belt, disguised as asteroids. Weapons platforms. Defense grids. Technology that matched and sometimes exceeded what the galaxy possessed. General Hayes appeared on screen from Earth. We chose silence to prepare. Now we choose to speak. Humanity wishes to join the galactic community as equals, not subjects. A distant asteroid exploded in a demonstration of human weapons capability. Elder Kryn stared at the display. After a long moment, he spoke. I have witnessed 10,000 species take their first steps into space. This one prepared before walking. He looked directly at the human transmission. They answered when they were ready to win. The vote began. The vote took 6 hours. When it finished, Kryn announced the results with measured calm. 3,847 votes for peace. 892 abstentions. 124 votes for war. Commander Vrak slammed his fist against his console. Cowards. All of you. They spy on us for centuries, and you welcome them? They learned from us, Kryn replied. There is wisdom in that. But Vrak was already leaving, his war delegation following. In the shadows of the station's lower decks, they met with like-minded species. Warriors who saw humanity's emergence as a threat. Together, they formed a pact, the First Order. Their mission: test these humans in real combat. 3 weeks later, Ambassador Helen Cross walked into the Galactic Council chamber for the first time. She was tall, gray-haired, and carried herself with quiet confidence. Thousands of alien eyes tracked her movement. She reached the podium and spoke. Simply, humanity thanks the Council for this opportunity. We come in peace, but we are not weak. We hope for friendship, but we are prepared for conflict. We will be good neighbors to those who wish it. Some delegates nodded approval. Others whispered among themselves. And in the back channels, Vrak smiled. Good neighbors. He would see about that. Port Station 7 floated in neutral space, a massive trading hub where species from across the galaxy bought and sold goods. Captain Reed's crew docked there 5 days after Helen's speech. Stay alert, Reed told his team as they walked through crowded markets. Aliens of every shape and size haggled over merchandise. Tom stopped at one stall. The merchant, a 6-legged creature with translucent skin, was selling human artifacts. Old satellites. Pieces of the International Space Station. Even a replica of the Voyager probe. Where did you get these? Tom asked. The merchant clicked happily. Humans very popular now. Everyone wants human items. Been collecting for decades. Lisa leaned close to Reed. They've been studying us as much as we studied them. Everyone spies on everyone, Reed muttered. Welcome to galactic politics. The attack came without warning. Europa, Jupiter's moon, housed a small human mining colony. 300 civilians extracting ice for water. They had minimal defenses, never expecting trouble so soon. Commander Vrak's 3 warships, cropped out of faster than light, traveled directly above the colony. His weapons charged. Send your distress signal, Vrak ordered his communications officer. I want Earth to know we're coming. The signal reached Earth in 11 minutes. Admiral John Carter was drinking coffee when the alert came through. He set down his cup carefully. How many ships? He asked. 3, sir. Attack class. They're demanding the colony's surrender. Carter walked to the bridge of the Defiance, humanity's flagship. Around him, his crew moved with practiced efficiency. Launch the fleet. Full speed to Europa. Sir, that's 5 ships against 3. Are you sure we need? I'm sure, Carter interrupted. Send all 5. The human fleet arrived at Europa in 4 hours. Vrak watched them approach on his displays, feeling confident. 5 ships, roughly equal to his 3. This would be a fair test. The battle lasted 17 minutes. Human ships moved like nothing Vrak had ever seen. They split formations, used coordinated strikes, and their weapons found weak points with impossible accuracy. They had studied alien combat footage for a century. They knew every tactic, every weakness. Vrak's shields failed first. Then his weapons. Then his engines. His ship was disabled, not destroyed. Around him, his other 2 vessels suffered the same fate. Admiral Carter's face appeared on Vrak's screen. Commander Vrak, you wanted to test humanity. Now you know. Your crew will not be harmed. You are prisoners of war. Vrak slumped in his command chair. They had captured him without killing a single alien. It was humiliating. News of the battle spread like fire across the galaxy. At Port Station 7, merchants began raising prices on human goods. In the council chamber, peaceful species celebrated. Warrior cultures grew quiet, reassessing. Elder Kryn met privately with Ambassador Helen. Your people showed remarkable restraint. Most species would have destroyed those ships. We believe in second chances, Helen said. Even for enemies. That philosophy will either save the galaxy or doom you, Kryn replied. But there is something else you should know. He transmitted ancient data star charts from before the council existed. Your emergence has triggered something. Old systems are activating. Automated defenses from a dead civilization. They were designed to respond when new species became too powerful too quickly. Helen studied the data. How bad? We don't know. These systems have been dormant for 10,000 years. But they're waking up now. Because of you. Deep in uncharted space, a massive vessel stirred. Its hull was black, absorbing all light. It had waited in silence since before most current civilizations existed. Now it detected something new. A species that had hidden, listened, learned. A species that spoke only when ready. The ancient ship systems activated. Its mission was simple. Judge the newcomers. Determine if they deserved their voice. Hundreds more ships like it began powering up across the dark regions of space. On Earth, Dr. Patel received the first warnings. Long-range sensors detected the energy signatures. President Morgan, we have a problem. A big one. The screens lit up with red markers. Not 3 ships. Not 30 hundreds. All heading toward known space. All ancient. All unknown. Admiral Carter stood on the Defiance's bridge and stared at the impossible display. We spent 200 years preparing to meet the galaxy. Nobody told us the galaxy had guardians. In the council chamber, an ancient message began broadcasting on frequencies no one had used in millennia. David translated it from dead languages. The awakening has begun. Prove you deserve to speak among the stars. Humanity had finally answered. Now something else was answering back, and the galaxy held its breath. The end asterisk.